Thank you for being here, and I'm so excited to talk to Renee and Anne right now. Let's start, for anyone who doesn't quite know you, let's say a quick little bit about what each of your little empires looks like. Renee, let's start with you.
My name's Renee Erickson. I'm a chef here in Seattle. I have quite a number of restaurants, and we mostly feature seafood, I would say, largely. Lots and lots of shellfish, which you just learned about being very important. Yeah, happy to be here.
Hi, all. I'm Anne McBride. I'm the VP of Impact at the James Beard Foundation. You might know us for the James Beard Awards, but we also do a lot of work that supports the industry, and I oversee our research, training, and advocacy efforts.
Well done. That was short. Great. So you know what? You just heard a lot about the challenges that are facing the food industry right now. Let's talk about the challenges that are facing you guys who are right front and center in the restaurant world. In spite of how hard people are working to try and fight, some people are working hard to fight climate change and all the environmental issues that we have. It's getting harder and harder. So Renee, I wonder what is keeping you up at night? Like, what are your biggest environmental issues?
I mean, as a person that has restaurants that serve a lot of seafood, that is kind of front and center as to what we think about a lot in regards to like what we can source, what's available to source, cost, all the things that I think any consumer has, I think is the same thing that kind of goes to restaurants. We try really hard. We source basically from Washington waters all the way through Alaska, essentially. We don't import anything seafood-wise. So I think just trying to maintain that quality and care for the people that we get to know and meet that are trying to maintain their businesses in the fisheries world, and making it so that like people keep coming to our restaurants because it keeps getting more and more expensive. So trying to balance that and kind of keeping up on all the changes that happen in regards to impact around fisheries and sourcing.
And is it just getting harder every day now, or does it?
It's getting smaller, you know, so yes, I think, you know, like I joke that, you know, we live in the center of salmon, and we almost serve almost no salmon, like, in the scheme of what you would imagine. And I would say largely all salmon, mostly served outside of the incredibly disgusting farm salmon, is Alaska fish that is not obviously local. So it's as local as we can get for the most part. But we do source from two husband and wife teams that fish, and then beyond that, we don't buy any other fish other than that. So everything else comes out of Bristol Bay, frozen. So yeah, it's very different. I've been doing this for almost 30 years, and it's an entirely different way of thinking about a seafood restaurant.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Oh. And you look at the national restaurant scene in such an in-depth, fantastic way. And I know you've done these fantastic climate insights, like these reports that look at what's happening on a really granular level. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing right now and what you're worried about?
Sure. So we launched last year a Climate Solutions for Restaurant Survival campaign. We do advocacy roundtables around the country where we bring together chefs, lawmakers, journalists, members of local organizations to really get people to understand the economic impact that climate has on restaurants and how important chefs are as stakeholders in any climate action, really. And what Renee just described around salmon, that's something that's appearing all over the country. I mean, in Maine, the waters are warming, lobsters are moving up. That affects, obviously, the fishermen there, the local economy, the local culture. The hurricanes last fall in the southeast impacted something like 60 or 70% of the pecan crop in Georgia, right? Because it was just before harvest. So that means that you are in states where something that is innate to the place completely disappears. And that might be a good time to mention an example that I've mentioned very regularly. One of our chefs at the Los Angeles roundtable last fall was saying that she's Thai, she cooks Thai food, and cilantro roots are at the core of the flavor that you love in Thai curry. It's an essential ingredient to what makes a curry a curry. Well, with soils warming, cilantro bolts before it forms roots. So she's had to replace this core ingredient with something else. And chefs are incredibly creative. you use other things, that's not usually the issue. Substituting or doing other dishes usually works. But the bigger questions that come up, so she's using green onions, it works technically. It's still a very good curry, but her customers need to understand why it doesn't taste quite like what they're used to. And then for her, it poses really big questions around identity. Is she still a Thai chef? Is she still Thai? Is her restaurant still Thai when something so essential to the cuisine is no longer part of it? So there's these big and small questions that really are impacting restaurants every day right now around climate.
It's just crazy. It's insane to think that something like the authenticity of Thai cuisine is now that it's so fundamental that something like something like warming waters and warming soil and how that changes how food is going to be grown. It's that fact blew my mind. We want to know what you guys are thinking about. Everybody here goes out to eat, I hope, and we want to know if you're seeing the impact of climate change on restaurants. So I think, yep, yay. There's if you guys can take out your phones and scan this little QR code. We would love it. We would love to know what's the biggest climate-related change you've noticed in your local dining restaurants, in your local dining scene. One answer is ingredient shortages. One answer is higher prices. Another is operational disruption, if you're looking carefully and you can see that. And then the last answer is no noticeable change. Renee, how would you answer that? I'll repeat it again. Ingredient shortages, higher prices.
1, 2, and 3, I think.
Oh yeah, it's right there. Cool. Making it easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. Like, I think it's a funny combination of riding through the pandemic and wondering where the cause of the problems have come from. Higher prices for sure. I think sometimes people think that restaurants get really great deals on things. They don't, unfortunately. I mean, maybe if you're buying things that you don't want to serve that are stored away forever and shipped to you in containers. But all of those things are a huge challenge to a restaurant. And I would say most restaurants in the world are small. They're not big, enormous places that are serving thousands and thousands of things. And so their margins are already really small, and then they're kind of navigating a system that I think is growing to only support large entities. And so you end up, you're just going to the grocery store essentially to buy some stuff, and those prices then get transferred on, through the system of charging what you need to charge to make any sort of money at all, and it becomes really expensive. And I think we're all seeing that. That I think would be the biggest challenge for sure in Seattle, but I think across the country, everything is just so much more expensive. So, yeah.
And what would you say? Would you say ingredient shortages, given that crazy cilantro?
I mean, I think, as I said, the chefs find solutions to that. So while they are, whether there's a drought, a flood, a fire that completely disrupt the supply chain, because farmers are hugely impacted. Some policies that are cutting funding for farmers are also impacting chefs, because that's less guaranteed income for a farmer. So that means they may not be planting certain things on a given year. They may go out of business completely. So, but the higher prices is what we're seeing, because the wages are increasing, or labor costs are increasing is probably a better way to phrase it. The credit card fees are an enormous problem. And then, yes, the cost of ingredient, the cost of goods in general. And frankly, that's about to get even worse with tariffs for restaurants that might depend on more imported ingredients also. So, and there is the misconception very often on the side of diners who think that because they're paying more for dinner, chefs are making so much more money, and it's really the opposite when the margins are smaller than they've ever been. And so creating that understanding is really a challenge also. And yeah, I mean, you know more than anyone.
That's a whole nother panel.
Yeah.
I think, around the availability of things, I think the positive side to having smaller businesses is that you have a connection to your farmers and fishers and can adapt in that way. If they're recently, If you were here over the weekend, it was 80 degrees. And if you were to look straight over there, you'll look at Hama Hama, which is a farm that we buy most of our seafood from, and they're shutting down waters constantly because it was like hitting 90 degrees. And they aren't, like Hama is one of the farmers that proactively does that. So they'll manage the water temperature, or they'll monitor their water temperature and shut it down, I think at like 60 degrees. Normally, like the Salish Sea hovers around 56, 57. And so there's a point where all sorts of things that you don't want to eat end up proliferating in warm water. And so they're trying to proactively do that, but also like we're in the middle of summer. It's like the high season for restaurants. Everyone comes to Washington to for sure eat salmon, but also oysters. And we sell more oysters than we do any time of year right now. And we're scrambling to try to find something that we're proud of serving that's not, kind of milky and not so delicious, summer oyster, quote unquote, and that's safe. And so there's, the challenges of just a normal summer versus like summer after summer where we're hitting, we were 80 degrees in June in Seattle, which never happens. And so all of that, I think, is just shifting what we can serve, what's available. And I think the bigger challenge is just trying to communicate that to our guests so that they are willing to kind of experience something else that might not be what they're planning on having. And or ideally, you can all come in February and March when we have like so many amazing oysters that are perfect, and we just want to serve as many as we can then because they really are at their prime. And so it's just trying to like encourage, like a mind shift around ordering. And I think a lot of that comes from, caring, obviously. You're all here, paying attention to, like weird details that nobody really wants to be spending their time doing. But I think it's, as a consumer, I think it's, if we can make like a few changes all the time, we're going to make some impact on something, which I think is really important to do.
It is. So I feel like we've talked about some bummer things. We just heard a lot about double frozen salmon and how Little House on the Prairie has been destroyed. So let's talk about, let's find some good news. Let's see if there's like something good to say. Renee, there is actually a new salmon that you might be interested in, right?
Yeah, so I'd say about 6 years ago, we were contacted by a company in San Francisco called Wild Type, who just, I think last week or the week before, finally got FDA approval to sell a cell-grown coho salmon.
I'm just going to interrupt for 1 second. You might, I don't know if you guys all know Renee, but she is like the seafood hero in the chef world. So if someone like Renee is talking about a cell-based salmon, like pay attention, because it means that serious chefs are taking this seriously. So.
Yeah, I think when I didn't tell anyone I was thinking or even like talking to these people for a while, and Bobby, who's here somewhere in the room, is our executive chef, and I finally told him, and he was just like, what? Like, why would we? And, and I think, and most people's perception of it is like this weird, and it is weird. It's like, it's literally brewed salmon that came from a single cell, and they brew it, and then they essentially like let it grow in a form which I did not know this, not a scientist, that cells grow like horizontally kind of forever, and they will not grow vertically. And so they built this thing called what they call a scaffolding, so that they can raise this into a form that looks like a piece of like a saku block that a sushi chef would use. And so over the course of the last 6-ish years, I think we've tried it many times and have gone down to see how they do it. And we just recently did a dinner there in March, I think. And it's, I think I have to like compartmentalize it in my brain where it's just like, this isn't, it's not my last meal, it's not my birthday dinner. But it is something that I think if we could have another alternative that I could be like, I hate farmed fish, at least open water farmed fish, and here's why. But there's this that like essentially is honestly better tasting and isn't gross and isn't full of plastics and chemicals, and does have omega-3s and all the things that you want from a protein. And if you go into a Walmart anywhere in America and you get a sushi bowl or a poke bowl, like most people don't care or know where that fish comes from at all, and you probably don't want to know. So like if we could replace a little bit of that, half of that, 3/4, all of it would be a dream, with something that I know is not causing the damage that we've seen here in the Northwest. That would be amazing. And so that was the reason why I was like very interested in this. So we've been working with them for many years now, and we're this month, is it this month? We're gonna launch it at Walrus. So we will be serving this at Walrus and the Carpenter. And right now it's very expensive and it's super weird.
Can you say how expensive?
I think it's like, I think it's like $190 a pound.
Wow.
I know, that's what we did too. Thankfully, they are paying us in fish right now so that we can kind of like, help them kind of get it into people's mouths. And I think it's worth it. I mean, in regards to like the cost that we incur with environmental problems that we are not seeing, that we continue to just like sandbag and pretend isn't an actual cost, and still charge $50 a pound for garbage Oreo King salmon that if it just says salmon on the menu, that's what you're getting, and that's probably the best one. But like, we have to start paying for it, like in actual money, not in like environmental disasters. And I think, like all the things that, I think we all know is that like, I don't think we should be farming a trophy fish to feed the world, and it won't. And so like coming up with solutions that is, in the future, like not right now, but in the future could be something where they do this for shrimp, or they do this for, tuna, or they do this for cod in a way that like it's producing something that is, viable to actually create enough protein to help feed people, versus just this continual idea that like, isn't it beautiful, and then you go to, you're not allowed to go look at the farm because it's so gross. So that's my hope, is that like in my, when I'm unwilling to say anything nice about farmed fish, I want to say something else that feels like it could have some good in the world and make some change. So yeah, it's cool. And it's mind-blowing.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And what about you? Is there something that you feel hopeful about after your amazing in-depth reports?
The continued resiliency of this industry and of the farming world too. And I think if there's one industry that's harder than restaurants, it's farms, and vice versa, basically. So to see that day after day, chefs and farmers are continuing to go at it, and continuing to really want to find solutions, to be part of the solution, that's something that makes me very hopeful. And I think I appreciate Renee's perspective on the cell-grown salmon, because some of the issues I have with this kind of product, or a lot of the plant-based alternatives, are who owns the capital, and the displacement of capital from farmers to companies, basically, and multinational, a greater removal, a harder point of entry for first generations or second or third, these kind of things in our food system. So there's a drastic cultural shift in our food system that happens with that. And I wish that as part of that, it's definitely a solution for certain things, but also getting more people to eat more varieties of fish, period, and the bycatch, and the type of fish that are usually not eaten. So instead of, in a way, continuing or in addition to continuing to get people interested in salmon, what about the other, million or thousands of varieties of fish that they're not considering eating? And same thing with vegetables, etc. We're going to have to change what we eat, because what grows where is completely impacted by climate. So there's definitely a lot that needs to happen in dialogue between chefs, farmers, and diners there. And so it's very creatively exciting, and so that keeps me very positive.
Keep it, hold on to it. Is there any economic case to be made, or have you seen any economic benefits in the environmental initiatives that you're doing? Is there anything that's making economic sense for you when you cook or in your menus?
In terms of?
I'll say my example is I just got to write about a place in London called Apricity, and it is run by a New Zealand woman. The chef is called Chantal Nicholson, and she was saying her menus, like I was really excited when I saw it. You know, you see a lot of menus that feel like they're greenwashed, and this felt like really it came from a place she was thinking about. She makes her crackers from leftover bread ends that she hydrates and then rebakes. She has a no-waste dip that's made with like leftover radish, like the radish leaves that are left over, maybe a stray carrot. Her bouillabaisse is bycatch with things like extra bony John Dory that most people, whether you're a customer or a chef, don't want to deal with. But she was saying that through second life for her ingredients, and also like getting rid of as much extraneous things like plastic, like not using things and then throwing them out, whether it's like bottles, you know, and like serving filtered water in carafes that they can just wash. She estimates that she can cut between 10 and up to 20% of her costs, even though there's sometimes a little less extra labor associated with it. Her costs are down 20%, up to 20%. Wow. And that's, you know, that's a hopeful thing. I take that and hold that.
Shuggies in San Francisco has the same philosophy, Shuggies Pizza, but they don't just do pizza, and they're using second-grade vegetables, produce. So they using absolutely everything. They also incorporate a lot of that thinking in their cocktail programs, in their pastry, because sometimes a savory kitchen does certain things and everyone else gets a pass. So they really integrate everything throughout their operation. And last year when we did a roundtable in San Francisco, there was a coffee shop there. A coffee shop owner with a few locations, and she was saying that regulation makes it that she needs to discard the foam of any milk that has been used to foam cappuccinos, for example, has to be discarded as soon as it's been heated. So you can't re-foam milk that you've heated for cappuccino. And so she has all of this wastage of milk. And the people from Shuggies were like, oh, we can use that because we make our own mozzarella and our own ricotta, so we can take that from you. So there's a lot of these solutions like that end up benefiting a little bit everyone. But it's more about making those connections because it happens over a random conversation around the table. How do we formalize that a little bit more and make it easier for people to not just do things in their restaurant, but as part of even if it's a neighborhood system or something like that. So there's cost-saving opportunities.
I would love someone to give me free milk. I think it's a double-edged sword. I think we chase that kind of reusing of everything all the time, or trying to find a way or save it. And I think sometimes, I don't know if anyone does this at home, but I'm like, I'm gonna recook that, and then I like make something else to put in the thing to recook it or to and then it's just like, I just wasted more. So like there's a balance to trying to make sure that you're not just kind of chasing it with more money. To kind of
extra labor. I mean, there's no question like that is one of the high costs.
But I mean, I think my dream would be no plastic in a restaurant. That would be the biggest, I think.
That's someone, Edward Lee, I think, has his restaurant in. Yeah. That's exciting. Have you eaten there?
At the bar, a few things, yes. It is really exciting. And we have a number of chefs in our network who are trying to go no plastics. And there are still some obstacles that remain, including the health inspections, right? There are a lot of codes that make it really hard to not wrap things in plastic to put in the fridge or to put away. So we're looking at a pilot program to help some restaurants figure that out.
Call me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone needs to create something that's not plastic, like that works as well as plastic wrap, right? Is that the goal?
That exists. Yeah. There's a compostable wrap. There's a couple of companies, but it's very, very expensive.
Super expensive. It's like those wax papers that I don't have it at home, so I use the wax things at home. It drives my husband crazy. But like you get used to it, but I think it's like, it's just one of those double-edged sword where you're like, is it worth it? I hope so.
Yeah. Keep wrapping in wax paper then, right?
Yeah, and then I mean, plastic is unfortunately like useful, and so then you have to figure out how you can put it in like reusable plastic versus just single-use product. So
it's a mission. It's working. I mean, you know, or I mean, you just have to keep working on it, I think, right?
For sure.
Keep going, keep looking for your cell-based salmon, and hopefully the price will come down a little bit
see.
because that was mind-blowing.
Yeah,
I did not think you were going to say that.
Neither did we.
Well,
Yeah, I think it's definitely not. I don't think it's headed to the market at that price, but that's currently the price.
well, you guys have been awesome, and I'm going to put in a plug. We have a fantastic new newsletter at Bloomberg, and it talks about how restaurants are navigating a changing climate. Subscribers can check out Bloomberg's new Business of Food weekly newsletter, which comes out every Friday and brings you stories from across the newsroom on everything from farming and trade to climate solutions and consumer trends and things like Renee's cell salmon. I bet you'll be reading about that before you know it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.